Okay, so they list off Adam's genealogy. First thing, Adam died when he was 930 years old. Okay, this dude almost died at 1,000 years old. Alright, so generation, eventually, from Seth, Noah was born. Not Seth's bloodline, not Cain's bloodline, okay? So Noah of the ark was born, okay? This dude, when he was 500 years old, became a father. 500! And he became a daddy. He had Shem, Ham, and Japheth. I had a friend named Japhet. I wonder if that's where he got his name. Biblical. Huh. Okay, so now we got Noah. Alright, I was wondering what has happened to man's lifespan. Okay, and I just found out. So when men began to multiply on earth and the daughters were born, the sons of heaven, so I'm guessing the aliens that created us, or the God's sons that were created us, saw how beautiful humans were, and so they took them as their wife. And the Lord then said, My spirit shall not remain in man forever, since he is but flesh. His days shall comprise 120 years. So humanity's lifespan got cut from 1,000 years old, nearly 1,000, to 120 years old, because the alien gods wanted to fuck the humans. How is that fair? Why don't you shorten their lifespans? How's that our fault that they want to fuck us? Y'all created us in your image. Oh, that's shit. I'm going to have to look this word up. At that time, the Nephilim appeared on earth, as well as later, after the sons of heaven had intercourse with the daughters of man, who bore them sons. They were the heroes of old, the men of renown. So now we got these alien god human hybrids walking around. Oh, so what's a Nephilim? I'm gonna have to look this up. I wonder if this was consensual. You think they had a Me Too movement back then? Okay, so, the Lord is not happy with humanity. We are wicked and pure evil, according to him, and he regrets making us, with the exception of Noah and his descendants, because Noah walks with God. He found favor with the Lord, and in the eyes of God, the earth was corrupt and full of lawlessness. When God saw how corrupt the earth had become, since all mortals led depraved lives on earth, he said to Noah, I have decided to put an end to all mortals on earth. The earth is full of lawlessness because of them, so I will destroy them and all life on earth. Make yourself an ark of gopher wood. And then it goes on to tell him how to make it. I'm not going to go into that. If you want the specs, you can look that shit up on Google. Okay, here we go. It tells him, I, on my part, am about to bring the flood waters on the earth to destroy everywhere all creatures in which there is the breath of life. Everything on earth shall perish. But with you I will establish my covenant. You and your sons, your wife and your sons' wives shall go into the ark. Of all other living creatures you shall bring 2 into the ark, 1 male and 1 female, that you may keep them alive with you. Of all kinds of birds, of all kinds of beasts, of all kinds of creeping things, 2 of each shall come into the ark with you to stay alive. Moreover, you are to provide yourself with all the food that is to be eaten, and stored away that it may serve as provisions for you and for them. This Noah did. He carried out all the commands God gave him. Alright, so Noah did just all of that. He went and he got on his boat. And then the skies opened like a floodgate for 40 days and 40 nights. And the waters increased and lifted the ark, and it rose above the earth, and the swelling waters increased greatly, higher and higher and higher, until all the highest mountains everywhere were submerged. Everything perished, right? Everything on earth perished, except those on the ark. Also, I'm also guessing the sea creatures didn't perish since those fuckers can breathe underwater. Why isn't that addressed in this book? Huh? No mention of sea creatures in here. They must be alive still, so what about all those ones? You got one pair of everything, but you still got 50 million of the sea creatures? So, discrepancies. Alright, so they were afloat for 150 days, and then the waters receded, and they came to rest on the mountains of Ararat. And then they diminished, kept going down further, and then more tops of the mountains appeared, and then at the end of the fourth day, Noah opened the hatch, and, sent out a raven. Raven eventually came back with an olive leaf, which meant there was life. And, the water began to dry up. And they eventually got to go onto land again. Alright, so when Noah got onto the land, he built an altar to the Lord and took a choosing from every clean animal and every clean bird and offered holocaust on the altar. So first thing he does when he gets there is builds an altar and sacrifices animals to the Lord. And the Lord smelled the sweet odor of the sacrifice and said to himself, "Never again will I doom the earth because of man, since the desires of man's heart are evil from the start. Nor will I ever again strike down all living beings as I have done." Well, I don't know if I quite believe him. As long as the earth lasts, cold and heat, seed time and harvest, summer and winter and day and night shall not cease. I'm not sure I believe him. Okay, so Noah's made a covenant, or the Lord's made a covenant with Noah, saying he's not gonna smite man from the earth again, like he did, or all living things. That doesn't mean he's not saying he ain't gonna do nothing else. He's just saying he ain't gonna wipe out every living being. So, I mean, that don't mean shit. That still ain't saying, he was just saying, okay, I'm gonna be a little bit nicer. I'm just not gonna be a total dickhead. So, they still just got a lot in store that ain't so nice. Okay, so apparently, when they got on dry soil, Noah decided he was going to be a inventor, and he grew a vineyard. And, he got drunk, and he passed out naked one night, and his son saw him. And so the youngest son, Canaan, saw his father's nakedness and told his brothers about it. And so the other two went and covered him up like good sons. And, so they didn't see it, but then Noah woke up and found out, and, he got pissed off that Canaan was, making fun of him, and he cursed him. So I don't know if that curse really worked, but he cursed. He was naked in his vineyard. That's a weird thing to put in a holy book. I don't know why that's in there. Who the fuck is writing this book? Like, if everything was destroyed in the flood, where did they get that account of history from? Like, who's telling this story? Did Noah verbally tell people and it got passed down hundreds of years and then got written down, or thousands of years and then got written down? Because if that's the case, he probably gave a telephone, and that's way wrong. Or did he maybe sneak some shit onto the boat that we weren't told about? Like maybe like some history books or some shit? Like who's telling this story? Where did the information come from? Why wasn't it washed out in the flood? I don't get, like, It doesn't tell any, like, it's obviously not from Noah's perspective unless he's talking in third person. Okay, well, this brings us to the Tower of Babel. So, as they populated and they got their foothold in the land, they decided to erect a city. Everybody was speaking the same language, and they communicated, and together they worked together, and they built this city with a tower. All right, and it wasn't like, I'm not getting the feeling that they're going to worship this tower. But the Lord got pissed off that they were communicating with one another and speaking the same language. And now he's worried what they're going to be able to band together and do in the future. So he switched up the languages and spread everybody all over the world. And that's why they call it the Tower of Babel, because they confused the speech. I don't know why he wouldn't want. I mean, I get why he wouldn't want people speaking the same language, because they're able to accomplish more, but at the same time, if they're not able to understand each other, then isn't that just going to create more confusion and cause problems? Is that how war was born? Because you created more than one language? Because you were mad? Because they built a tower? I mean, you could have maybe just had a conversation with them and they could have figured out some other workaround as to maybe not congregate, or, I don't know, put some different laws in place. That was kind of rude, though. Scatter them all about and change their languages. You probably just fucked us all and created war.